Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tuesday edition of Video Clips, which is brought to you by Wellness Forum Health and the Wellness Forum Institute for Health Studies. So, a couple of quick announcements. This Saturday is veterinarian Dr. Carol Gifford's workshop on dog and cat vaccines. She's going to cover all the stuff that parents of pets need to know. So if you are like me and your furry friend is your baby, this is stuff that you really need to know. So she's going to go through the various vaccines that recommended for dogs and cats and the risks and benefits of each and what to do with multiple pet households and titer testing for antibodies and alternative schedules in the whole 9 yards. So you have a few more days to register. We still have room for you in the workshop. And I'll remind everybody that Dr. Gifford is the person who took care of my precious Schroeder and caused him to live a whole lot longer than his life expectancy of about close to 3 years. So I'm forever grateful to her and for she's taking care of Winston, my current fur baby. I trust her with my furry friends and recommend that you do the same. So that's coming up. And then we are starting in June a program that we announced at the Food Over Medicine retreat this past weekend called the Winner's Circle. And this is going to be comprised of 8 sessions, accountability sessions to help you move your health and your life forward. So if you are one of those people who has trouble keeping on track, this is something that you really ought to consider. We're going to give you a lot of tools like meal plans and recipes and things of that nature. We're going to review your food. I'm going to have somebody review your food and exercise journals. And then these 8 sessions will be some training and some sharing and problem solving and getting to the nuts and the bolts and the strategies for maintaining a healthy life. I think a lot of you know what to do. You just have a lot of trouble doing it. And you're not alone. I think it's something that plagues a lot of people. So I am happy to send you information about both of these things if you would like. My email address is pampopper@msn.com. All right, so I want to continue the discussion I started last week concerning supplements. And I think the reason why is, first of all, the supplement industry is exploding. I mean, more than ever before. Another conference took place very recently, and I wasn't able to watch it. It was an online conference, but I understand that huge amounts of material allocated to supplements and all the supplements you're supposed to take. So this is continuing to be an issue, and I'm getting a lot of inquiries about it via email. And the way that I construct my videos is often to address the things that people are asking me about. So I'll just tell you a little bit. I want to cover today the argument for whole foods instead of supplements. And then I also want to start a discussion of side effects, which will continue next week as well. So, since the beginning of human life on Earth, humans have obtained their nutrients from food. And it's obvious why. I mean, early man didn't have any access to vitamin pills or supplement stores and had no ability to measure nutrient content of foods or to extract nutrients from foods to take in supplement form. So, we all survived, and we're here to have this discussion because the human body is specifically designed to extract and utilize nutrients from food. If we really needed vitamin pills and fortified foods for survival, I think our species would have become extinct a really long time ago. Now, a few vitamins and nutrients are commonly found in supplements and fortified foods, but there are tens of thousands of nutrients in foods, and new ones are still being discovered. These include thousands of flavonoids, hundreds of carotenoids, and tens of thousands of phytochemicals. Nutrients, as they occur naturally in food, exist in complexes, which are comprised of several nutrients in synergistic form. These are all combined in endless numbers of combinations and delivered to humans in nature's perfect packages, which are food. Nutrients in food work together to supply energy to and facilitate an endless number of biochemical reactions in the over 30 trillion cells that comprise our bodies. Studies have shown that nutrient needs vary from person to person and even from day to day for the same person based on the environment and changing circumstances. One research study found that calcium needs, for example, could vary by as much as 4.5 times from person to person. And for amino acids, the needs could vary by as much as 6.5 times between men of the same age and race. An individual who is stressed will need more B vitamins than someone who is more relaxed, for example. Foods contain the full spectrum of nutritional complexes, and eating them allows the body to choose what it needs and excrete what's not needed, a process known as selective absorption. Consuming isolated nutrients leaves the body no choice. It must metabolize what is ingested, which can mean taking the missing cofactors that would normally be packaged with these nutrients from the tissues and organs of the body to create a recognizable complex. There's a difference between whole foods and individual nutrients, and a single nutrient or pill containing a few nutrients is really no substitute at all. Think of it this way. I've always taught by analogy, and maybe this will help. Suppose you purchase a ticket to see your local symphony perform, and on arriving at the theater, find out that only one musician will be performing, a clarinet player. You complain to the concert promoter that you paid to see the symphony, and he responds by saying that the clarinet player will be playing exactly the same music as she would normally be playing just by herself and not with the symphony. You'd probably ask for a refund because the single musician can never create on her own the effect of an entire symphony. And so it is with food. Single nutrients are not a substitute for eating whole foods. But I think an even bigger concern is there are side effects from taking supplements. Medical journals are filled with tens of thousands of articles on supplements. Most show disappointing results. The supplement fails to deliver the promised result. But a surprising number of research studies report negative side effects. Some studies have even been stopped early because those taking the supplements were worse off than the people taking the placebo. Take the SELECT trial, for example. The selenium and vitamin E cancer prevention trial involved over 35,000 men ages 50 or older who were assigned to take vitamin E, selenium, a combination of both, or a placebo. The goal of the study was to see if supplements could prevent prostate cancer. The men taking supplements did not have reduced risk of developing prostate cancer, but the men taking selenium had a small increase in the risk of developing diabetes, which is why the National Cancer Institute ended the trial early. There are many other studies showing that supplements can cause health issues. For example, taking calcium pills can increase the risk of having a heart attack. One research group concluded, quote, although the magnitude of the increase in risk is modest, the widespread use of calcium supplements means that even a small increase in the incidence of cardiovascular disease could translate into a large burden of disease in the population. The likely adverse effect of calcium supplements on cardiovascular events, taken together with the possible adverse effect on incidence of hip fracture and its modest overall efficacy in reducing hip fracture, about 10% reduction, suggests that a reassessment of the role of calcium supplements in the prevention and treatment of osteoporosis is warranted. And one take-home point from this study is that even a very small risk can translate into a huge population burden just because of the number of people who take these supplements. A Cochrane review of 67 randomized trials, including over 232,000 people taking antioxidants, found that the pills were worthless and added this caution. Quote, vitamin A, beta carotene, and vitamin E may increase mortality. Future randomized trials could evaluate the potential effects of vitamin C and selenium for primary and secondary prevention. Such trials should be closely monitored for potential harmful effects. Antioxidant supplements need to be considered medicinal products and should undergo sufficient evaluation before marketing. The folate after coronary intervention trial included 626 patients who had stents implanted in blocked arteries. Half were randomly given folic acid, the other half a placebo. 6 months later, the arteries of those taking folic acid had narrowed more than those taking placebo. So the bottom line is the decision to take supplements should be carefully considered. It's fair to say that some have value for some very specific purposes, but it's important to remember that supplements that work will have side effects. In some situations, literature searches show no evidence of side effects for supplements, but this is not because they're not there. It's because often the supplement hasn't been studied for potential side effects, and we just don't know. So I think all of this points to a much more conservative approach to supplements and a much more important focus on whole foods. And again, I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Can supplements be useful for some people in specific situations? Yes, but this whole idea of taking hands full of supplements by the general population, it isn't working out so well. And I don't think we know the entire breadth of the effect at this point in time. So I will continue this series next week because it's one that has generated a lot of email. Some people a little angry with me, some people grateful for the information, people with a lot more questions as well. But in the meantime, just think about this. I'm all for consumer choice, and my job is just to give you evidence and information so that you can make better choices. If you're interested in Dr. Gifford's workshop that's coming up this weekend or the accountability sessions and coaching sessions that we're starting in June, just send me an email at pampopper@msn.com. I'll be happy to get back to you with information. I will put all the information in the newsletter on Monday. So if you're a subscriber, you'll have the references and that sort of thing. As usual, pass this on to anybody who you think would enjoy watching it. And I will be back to you on Thursday with more news.